So I heard you say that you're having nightmares. Can you tell me how often that's happening?
Probably about 5 times a week, give or take.
5 times a week. You must be really tired then.
Yeah, it's very draining, very stressful.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like you're really. It's kind of like when you've been awake for a really long time, your eyes kind of like burn. You're kind of just like out of it.
Yeah, I'm sure you're just on all the time, right?
Exactly.
And just exhausted. So when I'm hearing you say we were talking about some goals that we can set up, I heard you say that you feel like you're having these flashbacks 2 to 3 times a month. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so ideally we'd like to reduce this to about 1 to 2 and in the meantime develop some healthy coping mechanisms. And I also heard you say that you're not really sleeping great. So 5 times a week, that's a lot. If we can get those down to maybe just 1 to 2 a week, just to start, would you feel like that would be a good
That would
goal
be anything
to
would
start
be better
with?
than what it is now.
And I'm also hearing you say you're having some mood swings, a lot of noises or triggers. Would you mind, can we walk through maybe one of your triggering events? Perhaps sitting in a car, and maybe talking about that being hard for you?
Sure. Give it a go.
So one of the things I like to do is really to kind of get you grounded and present in the moment. So if you could put your feet on the ground for me, I think that's going to be one way to kind of help you feel like you are here and in the moment and not, kind of backing around in that calm way. So I'd like you to close your eyes and take a deep breath. And I want you to imagine yourself in this traffic situation. Can you tell me what that looks like for you? What are you doing?
Well, traffic here, it's usually when I'm in a situation like I've been telling you about, I'm usually in the middle lane, kind of traffic all around me. A lot of noise, a lot of commotion. It kind of feels like that my truck is getting smaller, and I'm kind of stuck in a situation. I'm useless. I can't really do anything about it. And then I start noticing people giving me weird looks and staring at me, and then kind of almost feel like I'm kind of thrust back into Iraq or Afghanistan, and I'm kind of like in that high state of alert where is that person staring at me for a reason? Are they going to attack me? Is the person on the side who has a backpack or something who's at a bomb? Is this all this traffic because they want to, is there something up ahead? Are they staging something?
Okay, so I want you to take a deep breath again. I want you to feel your feet on the ground. Okay? What's underneath of you?
Carpet.
Carpet, right? So if you were in that convoy, would there be carpet underneath of you?
No.
No. Okay. The next thing is, what do you see? Can you see what the people are wearing around you?
No, like I mentioned earlier in our session, I work night shifts, so usually I'm driving during like low light situations, and when we were attacked, it was a low light. It was actually pitch black. Not a lot of lights. There are street lights where I'm driving, but that's...
So you see street lights. Can you see street lights right now?
For focus, I can, yes.
You can, okay. Can you tell me now, if you focus on the street lights, what people are wearing?
Yes, I can kind of make out what they're wearing now. Before, I guess it was really dark.
Sure.
But now that I focus on the lights, I can kind of notice what people are wearing. Person who's driving stuck to the car left of me, he's wearing a baseball hat, Yankees baseball hat specifically.
Yankees.
He's wearing a collared shirt. He's the collar up, a jacket over that. His looks like he has low cut hair, beard.
Okay, how do you feel now?
I feel a lot more relieved. I pay attention to the appropriate details, not necessarily the details that I'm manufacturing. I think that guy's wearing a Yankees hat. You're not going to see too many Yankees hats in Afghanistan or Iraq.
So do me one more favor. You talked about people giving you weird looks. Now can you tell me how people are looking at you, or if they're looking at you?
Before, it's like they're looking at me in a very suspicious manner, and maybe it's just because I was on alert and looking at noticing people looking staring at me. Whereas now it looks like people are just looking around. Looks like they're going through the same ordeal I am.
Can you open your eyes for me now? So how do you feel after going through that?
A lot more relieved. Yeah, not necessarily as stressed, but I'm more relieved and more aware of my surroundings.
So when you're in that situation again, we talked about what it felt like underneath of you driving. So I don't know what you wear when you're driving, but perhaps you could even drive barefoot if you're wearing sandals or something. You can feel, my car has the carpet, the mat underneath of you. So that would be something to actually get that feeling of being grounded and realizing that you didn't have carpet in your convoy. I mean, it would have been nice to have it. Sometimes. And then the other thing is to focus on those streetlights, because you talked about not having streetlights available for you in Iraq. So we can kind of focus on those and then hone on those other details and really pay attention to how people are looking at you, or perhaps what they're wearing, and we can kind of try to bring you out of those situations a little more. Do you think that those things might help?
They would a lot, yes, yeah.
So one of the things I'd like to do is, can I get you to commit to come once a week for about an hour, for at least 6 weeks, so we can sit there and work on some of these goals that we talked about, and kind of start targeting these flashbacks you're having in more in depth and more in detail. And then we'll see how this works for you the next time, and see if you're able to use it. And if not, we'll change it and try something new.
I like that very much.
How are you feeling now before you head out?
A lot more relieved and I guess more in control, if that makes sense.
You sound calmer.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you feel a little calmer?
Yeah.
All right. So I will see you then. Does Tuesdays work then? The same time? Same time, same bad place?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks so much.
All right. So I just finished my interview with my client who was working through some post-traumatic stress symptoms. In particular, he was looking at having, flashbacks 2 to 3 times a month. And then also he was having nightmares 5 to 6 times a week. And particularly he had some triggers of sitting in traffic and having a hard time as he experienced going through a convoy in Iraq on one of his deployments, and the convoy was blown up. And so sitting in traffic for him was a difficult situation. He was feeling trapped and feeling like people were looking at him, and really starting to flash back in those moments. So throughout the session, what we did was I did a mood check at the beginning of the session and also again at the end of the session to make sure he was feeling okay and safe. We set some goals. The goals were actually, I wanted tangible numerical goals so that we could create a baseline and then make sure that we were seeing progress. So additionally, we talked about these 2 to 3 times having the flashbacks a month, to reducing those to 1 to 2. And also, he's having nightmares 5 to 6 times a week, so we'd like to have those reduced to 1 to 2 as well. So again, I want to really kind of graph these out and make sure that we're seeing some progress. I did kind of talk to him about what the cognitive behavioral model was and work on changing some cognitive distortions he was having. And having him understand that we're going to try to change the way he thinks about thinking, and that would change some of the behaviors he's having. We talked about his expectations for therapy, and I did try to provide a summary and get some session feedback to see how he was feeling at the end of all of this. One of the things that I worked through with him in particular was talking about kind of a visualization of one of his triggers, and that particularly again was sitting in traffic. I had him ground himself by putting his feet on the carpet, and so that really kind of made him feel like he was here in reality and not kind of spinning up in his head. And I had him visualize what it was like to sit in the car in this traffic and kind of walk me through a day in the life, so to speak. So he talked about initially just feeling stressed out like we all do sitting in traffic, but then those stressful thoughts